And then just to close with you, brother, I gotta ask you before I let you go about Joshua and Ruiz. I know you saw the highlights to the fight.
Yeah, well, I was ringside, Devin Alexander versus Ivan Rikic, and I was working. We went into our post-fight segment show, and everyone stayed around. I think some of them were there, like, waiting to get pictures and autographs from me after the fight. Mm-hmm. Some of them were there to see us talk, but others just did not get up and leave because they had their phones out and they were watching the fight. So every time we went to commercial, I'm looking at somebody's phone to see what was going on. And we had a lot of boxing personality at the fight, and they were watching the fight on laptops, and they were just hooping and hollering. And I'm looking at those guys, and they're telling me what's going on, and I just thought that it was amazing what Andy Ruiz was able to accomplish the other night. I hope that no one takes anything away from him. And you know, after a fight, there's always something that comes out from the guy that does not get his hand raised, and it's not always an excuse, but I would hate for anything to come out that takes away from what he was able to do against Anthony Joshua.
Well, apparently there's some reports coming out today that Joshua was knocked out in sparring and training camp ahead of the fight.
Wow.
If that was the case, should he have not went ahead with the fight then?
Well, we know what being knocked out is. When you're knocked out, you're concussed.
Yep.
And you need to go through a protocol and make sure that you're healthy. That's what I tell all young fighters. Work hard, stay focused, be patient, and stay healthy, because it's really hard to come back from some things. Now, if you're knocked out in training, you got to assess it all. How far away from this fight are we? Is it possible we can take a few days off? Can we get in and see a doctor and make sure everything is working and fine and all that? If he's been knocked out in training, I'm sure that showed up in the fight, which is unfortunate.
I know one thing we talked about beforehand.
And that's also, that's different. There's no excuse. Who's gonna admit to being knocked out in training? So that's interesting.
I mean, they had tape of Tyson before the Douglas fight getting dropped, but that was just getting dropped, not knocked out from his senses.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless you got it on tape, it might be a little hard to confirm.
Yeah, that too. But again, who lies about getting knocked out?
Well, apparently it wasn't AJ. It was people around him circulating that, it's all kind of rumor at this point, But
if it happened, I'm sure it was evident in the fight.
He did. Well, that's what people are saying. They're saying he didn't seem to come in with the fire of a champion. Like he seemed timid. And
I heard timid. I heard tentative. I heard I heard he just wasn't himself.
What do you think would bring that about?
The thing that I thought was maybe it was the New York lights. I thought it was maybe the American that American life just really being realized in that moment, and I thought that maybe it was a moment that he wasn't ready for. And again, I thought that it was a moment that Andy might not be ready for. You never know until you get there.
Andy seemed to just come in like, F it, I'm gonna just give it my best shot. Let my hands go.
I've said this publicly. You have to be a fan of Andy Ruiz. If you weren't a fan of his before this fight, you better be a fan of his now. It doesn't matter what his body looks like, because he's able to perform. He's able to have power and speed, and also the ring IQ required to be the world champion. You can't take that away from him. You got to do more than just take your hat off and tip it to Andy Ruiz. You have to respect him, and you have to acknowledge him as a world champion now.